Welcome back to Sam's Fiction Hub. I'm your host, Sam, and I'm so excited to dive into episode 3 with all of you. Today, we're continuing our journey into the gripping world of Echoes of 24, written under my pen name, Virgil Brooks. In the last episode, we left off with Captain Maya Locke, grappling with revelations that could change the fate of the war and her very existence. Chapters 5 and 6 take the stakes even higher as Maya faces relentless Krylon forces and begins to uncover the true power and danger hidden within the mysterious letters. And here's some exciting news. As part of this episode, we've made the narration even more immersive, giving distinct voices to each character for a richer listening experience. So, grab your headphones and settle in because things are about to get intense. Let's pick up right where we left off. Echoes of 24, chapters 5 and 6.
Chapter 5. Krylon Encroachment. The facility's silence wasn't serene. It was stifling. The faint hum of failing machinery beneath the cold metal pedestal seemed to mock Maya's racing thoughts. The walls held their breath, waiting. Every shadow flickering under the pale, flickering lights felt alive. The air, thin and arid, scratched at her throat with every shallow inhale, leaving her lungs burning like embers. 22 more letters, each one a potential key. Altair failed to break the cycle, but Maya wasn't him. She wouldn't follow his path into despair.
Remus, start decrypting the next letter,
She commanded, her voice steady, though her muscles tensed like a coiled spring. Her heartbeat thudded in her ears, drowning out the AI's calm response.
Decryption will begin immediately.
The floor beneath her boots vibrated, the decaying systems of the ancient facility clinging to life. The faint metallic tang of the air mixed with the smell of singed circuits, a lingering reminder of battles long past. She needed to move faster. Rest was a luxury she couldn't afford. Not now. The noise hit her like a thunderclap. A slight hum, almost swallowed by the wind outside, grew into a sharp, mechanical drone that sliced through the silence. Maya froze, the hairs on the back of her neck rising as the sound resonated deep in her chest. The faint metallic taste of fear coated her tongue. Her hand flew instinctively to her sidearm, fingers curling around the grip with a practiced urgency. Maya knew that sound. Krylon scouts.
Remus.
She hissed, her voice barely audible over the pounding of her pulse.
Confirm. Do you hear that?
Detecting Krylon's signatures.
Remus said, his tone clinical, but the urgency beneath it was unmistakable.
4 scout-class vessels, closing in fast. Estimated time to arrival, 8 minutes.
Maya's stomach dropped. The sound of their engines grew louder, a rising crescendo of death. Her body moved on instinct.
Lock down the complex. Activate all available defenses.
Automated defenses are degraded. Power levels insufficient for full functionality.
Remus replied. Maya clenched her teeth, shoving aside the rising panic clawing at her chest.
Do what you can.
She barked, already sprinting through the narrow corridors. The walls around her groaned, as though the facility itself recognized its vulnerability. Her boots pounded against the floor, the sound reverberating like gunfire in the hollow space. The howling wind outside carried the mechanical screech of Krylon engines closer. The commander didn't need to see them to feel their presence. Sleek, predatory machines slicing through the storm with unrelenting precision. In her mind's eye, she could already picture their angular forms descending like birds of prey, their weapons primed. The control room loomed ahead, its circular layout a relic of functionality, now choked by decay. Dust clung to the cracked displays, and static flickered weakly across the consoles. Maya skidded to a halt before the main interface, fingers flying across the panel. Each touch sent a jolt of static into her fingertips. Symbols and distorted text scrolled across the screen as she fought to bring the defenses online.
Remus, report.
Maya snapped.
2 external turrets are operational.
The AI said, calm as ever.
Targeting systems engaged, but power output is insufficient for sustained defense.
Maya cursed under her breath, glancing out the viewport. Through the swirling red storm, Krylon ships descended in formation, their predatory shapes slicing through the chaos. She could almost feel their gaze upon her, cold and calculating. She wouldn't give them the satisfaction of an easy kill. Maya's hand gripped the rifle at her side as she spun on her heel, sprinting back toward the facility's entrance. The muffled roar of Krylon engines outside grew deafening. The turrets opened fire, their blasts tearing through the storm with sharp staccato bursts. She felt each shot reverberate through the floor beneath her boots, but the Krylon scouts pressed on, their armor deflecting or absorbing most of the turret fire. The first scout ship landed with a metallic screech, its landing gear digging into the ground as dust and debris flew into the air. Maya skidded to a stop behind a support column, her chest heaving as she raised her weapon. The hatch hissed open, and the Krylon soldiers emerged in perfect unison. Sleek, metallic figures with glowing visors that reflected the storm's fury. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy, the sound sending a shiver down her spine. Maya fired first. Her shot tore through the chaos, striking one soldier square in the chest. The impact staggered it, but the Krylon barely flinched, its reinforced plating absorbing most of the blast. Plasma fire answered in quick, searing bursts, slamming into the walls and sending shards of debris raining around her. The air reeked of burning metal and scorched ozone. Maya ducked behind the column, her heart hammering against her ribs. The Krylon advanced with mechanical precision, their weapons glowing as they prepared to breach the facility. The second turret roared to life. Energy bolts slammed into the Krylon formation, forcing the soldiers to scatter. One fell, smoke rising from its charred armor, but the others pressed on with unrelenting efficiency.
Remus,
Maya shouted, firing again. The recoil jolted her arm, the shot grazing the exposed joint of a Krylon soldier. It staggered, its movements momentarily jerky, but quickly recovered.
The facility's defenses are near exhaustion.
Remus warned.
Power reserves are minimal. Additional measures will fail imminently.
Maya's mind raced. She had no time, no reinforcements, and no options. The letters. Her gaze darted toward the corridor behind her, and the faint glow of the chamber where they waited. Her jaw tightened. She wouldn't let the Krylon destroy what critical assets she found.
Remus,
She said, her voice cutting through the chaos.
divert all remaining power to the turrets. Hold them off for as long as you can.
That course of action will render the facility inoperable.
Remus said.
I don't care.
Maya yelled, already moving.
Buy me time.
Maya sprinted down the corridor, the sound of the turret's final volley echoing behind her. Plasma fire crackled, the sharp tang of ozone filling the air as the Krylon pushed closer. Maya's breaths came in ragged gasps, her legs burning with every step, but she didn't stop. She reached the chamber, the glowing pedestal of letters waiting for her like a beacon.
Remus,
She gasped, her voice hoarse.
decrypt the next one now.
The AI's voice cut through the static in her helmet.
Decryption underway.
Maya gripped the pedestal, her knuckles white. The Krylon would breach the facility any moment now. She refused to leave without answers. Let them come. If this was where it ended, she would make it count.
And that concludes Chapter 5 of Echoes of 24. Thank you so much for listening and coming along on this thrilling journey with Captain Maya Locke. Tension is rising, and the revelations keep pulling us deeper into this intricate web of fate and time. I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to Sam's Fiction Hub. Your support means the world to me, and it's your enthusiasm that keeps this adventure alive. Remember, if you're as captivated as I am, Echoes of 24 will be available on December 12th, 2024, in ebook, audiobook, and print. Be sure to grab your copy and experience the full story in its entirety. Now, without further ado, let's dive straight into Chapter 6 and see what fate has in store for Maya next.
Chapter 6. Reflections in Time. Maya's boots slammed against the cold metal floor as she hurtled into the chamber, the glowing letters casting sharp, eerie shadows against the walls. Her breath came in ragged gasps, the bitter tang of adrenaline on her tongue as her heart thudded like a war drum in her chest. The Krylon scouts were closing in, each second an unforgiving countdown. The metallic tang of the facility's stale air was thick in her lungs, her mind racing against time.
Remus, status report.
She barked, skidding to a stop in front of the pedestal. Her gloved hand brushed its cool, luminous surface. The glowing letters felt almost alive, pulsing, as if daring her to unlock their secrets.
The outer defenses will fail in 2 minutes.
Remus intoned, his calm voice a stark contrast to the chaos.
The Krylon soldiers are advancing. Decryption of the next letter is at 70%.
Maya's stomach tightened, frustration mounting as her pulse raced. 70% wasn't enough. Not with the Krylon so close, their cold mechanical efficiency tearing through the facility's last defenses. The hum of failing systems felt oppressive, a funeral dirge as the room's faint, flickering lights created a symphony of shadows and tension. She knelt before the pedestal, desperation gripping her. She murmured, touching the next letter. The moment her fingertips met its surface, the light intensified, flooding the room in blinding white brilliance. Then the pull hit her. It was visceral, a wrenching force that tore her from reality. The chamber around her appeared to collapse, edges twisting and fracturing, the floor dropping away beneath her. Her mind darted into a torrent of light and sound, a deafening roar that wasn't just noise, but the shattering cry of time unraveling. She tried to scream, but the force stole her voice, suffocating her with its intensity. Images exploded in her vision. Battles fought and lost, flames licking the stars, her face staring back at her, older, scarred and broken. Her skin tingled with the phantom heat of firestorms, and her ears rang with the cacophony of endless wars. She saw herself clad in unfamiliar armor, leading a desperate charge under a blood-red sky. Another version of her stood defiantly in the same chamber, the pedestal glowing, but her eyes were sunken with the weight of countless failures. The sharp scent of burning metal lingered, mingling with the acidic bitterness of defeat. Time wasn't linear. It bent, twisted, and snapped back on itself, replaying endless variations of the same doomed struggle.
You must choose.
A voice called through the chaos, distorted and distant, yet unmistakable. Altair. Her vision fractured again. Maya was on a battlefield, the ground trembling as thousands of Krylon ships descended in a storm of energy and steel. The odor of scorched earth burned her nostrils, the heat of plasma fire stinging her skin. Amid the wreckage, Altair stood alone, his weapon raised against the overwhelming tide.
We failed,
he said, his voice hollow, but his gaze burned with the defiance that pierced her soul.
We always fail.
The words hit her like a blow, but even as despair threatened to drown her, the vision shifted. Altair turned toward her, their eyes locking across the storm. His expression showed exuberance. It was fierce, alive.
You don't have to,
he said, his voice cutting through the noise like a blade.
You have the power to change it, if that's what you decide.
Maya gasped, the pull releasing her suddenly. She collapsed against the pedestal, her body trembling, her chest heaving as the room around her reformed. The faint hum of the facility's failing systems returned, grounding her in the present. The letters glowed faintly once more, their light steady, indifferent.
Remus,
She rasped, her voice raw.
what just happened?
I detected a temporal anomaly.
The AI replied, his voice steady despite the magnitude of his words.
Your neural patterns were directly affected. The letters are not merely data. They are interwoven with the time loop itself.
Her fingers tightened on the pedestal, the metallic taste of fear still sharp on her tongue. The visions echoed in her mind, fragments of Altair's warning mixing with the overwhelming image of her endless failures. The Krylon were winning, but his words lingered like an ember in the dark.
You have the power to change it, if that's what you decide.
A deafening explosion shattered her thoughts, the walls trembling violently as a rain of dust and debris pelted her. Plasma fire crackled in the distance, the metallic screech of Krylon boots echoing down the corridor. They were inside.
Captain,
Remus said, his tone sharp.
the Krylon have breached the facility. Evacuation is advised.
Maya pushed herself up, grabbing her weapon with shaking hands. Her body ached from the pull, her vision swam, but she forced herself to move. The sound of Krylon soldiers closing in grew louder, their precise mechanical movements relentless.
How much longer until the next letter is decrypted?
She asked, her voice hoarse.
90%. Estimated time, 45 seconds.
That's too long.
Maya said, the weight of the ticking clock pressing down on her. Her eyes darted to the corridor entrance, where shadows shifted ominously. The first Krylon soldier stepped into view, its sleek armor gleaming as it raised its weapon. Maya fired, the plasma bolt slamming into its chest. Sparks erupted, the impact sending it staggering back, but another soldier stepped forward, then another. The hum of their weapons charging filled the air, the promise of death. Maya ducked behind the pedestal, her heart pounding in her ears.
Remus, keep decrypting, no matter what happens.
Understood, Captain.
The Krylon advanced, their cold mechanical voices slicing through the tension. Maya gritted her teeth, adjusting her grip on her weapon, her back pressed against the pedestal, its glowing letters her only hope.
You can change it.
Altair's voice echoed in her mind. For the first time, she let herself believe him.
And that brings us to the end of chapters 5 and 6 of Echoes 24. Captain Maya Locke's journey is intensive, and the pieces of this time-bending puzzle are starting to come together. The Krylon threat looms larger than ever, and the letters continue to reveal secrets that might just hold the key to breaking the cycle. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Sam's Fiction Hub. Your support and enthusiasm mean everything, and I'm so grateful to have you along for me. If you're enjoying this series, don't forget, Echoes of 24 will be available on December 12th, 2024, in ebook, audiobook, and print. Make sure to grab your copy and immerse yourself fully in Maya's incredible story. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on today's chapters. What are your theories about the letters and their connection to Maya's fate? Share your thoughts in the comments or reach out on social media. Can't wait to hear from you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Sam's Fiction Hub on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribing ensures you won't miss a single episode, and it helps us grow this amazing community of story lovers. Until next time, keep imagining, keep exploring, and as always, keep turning the page.